everyone, welcome back to the Travel Becomes Me channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking with a very special guest, Mandela Gregoire, a videographer and photographer who's going to give us some quick tips to upgrade our travel photography. But if this is your first time tuning into the Travel Becomes Me channel, I'm Kita. I'm a finance lawyer, author, but most importantly, and probably the reason why you're here, I'm a luxury travel enthusiast and coach that has been to over 60 countries and overseas territories, using strategies and tools that I find assist with traveling lux for less. So before we get into today's interview, I want to give you a little bit of background on Mandela Gregoire, who I'm so excited to have on the channel, discuss some great tips that he's taught me throughout the years to try to enhance my travel photography as an amateur. So Mandela has received training at the Rochester Institute of Technology in cinema, as well as NYU Tisch School of Arts. He's also worked with Academy Award winner John Singleton on films early on in his career. He has also worked with Rihanna as her personal photographer and videographer in the past and doing behind the scenes footage. And he does a variety of work on music videos, major motion pictures. He does major print production work for large corporations and works with NGOs. He is a truly talented artist, as you can see from the footage that I've been showing. And I'm so excited to have him here to give us a few tips on how we can upgrade our travel photography. So let's get into it. So everyone, I'm very excited today to have Mandela Gregoire here with us. He is a fabulous videographer, filmmaker, photographer who's worked on several major motion pictures. He works on music videos. He does documentaries for NGOs. He also does pretty fabulous travel photography and videography. So today he's going to be with us to share a couple of quick tips that you can use when you're traveling and you have your phone with you and you'd like to upgrade your photos. So welcome, Mandela. Mandela is also my fabulous cousin.
Thank you for having me,
Mandela,
Ida.
into it. So what is the first tip that you would suggest to someone who wants to upgrade their photos that they're taking with their cell phone?
Well, my first tip is to look for color. I think, the world is so colorful, and when you're traveling, you see so many different things: the ocean, the trees, flowers, food. It could be the red in a crab or the yellow of a flower, or so just keep your eyes open and looking for color. I think we all respond to color in different ways, and that's definitely one aspect of photography that makes for the most interesting photos.
That's excellent. So that way people could be drawn to your photos if you were to post them on social media, or if you wanted to print them out and have them up in your home, the color adds a nice little pop. What is a second tip that you would provide?
Second tip I would provide is observe the light. So much of photography is about controlling light. So you want to be looking at where the sun is in relation to your subject or relation to yourself if you're taking a selfie. So you want to see if the sun is in front of you, is it behind you? Because if it's directly behind you, then you might appear as in silhouette, whereas but typically you might want it to shine right on your face. So just try to pay attention to where the sun actually is and use that. Pay attention to the morning sunrise versus sunset versus midday. You all get each one gives you a different feeling. So you kind of work with what you have and pay attention to that.
I remember when you first gave me that tip, because my pictures used to be like an epic disaster. And then one time I was with you and you were like, but why are you taking the picture this way? Why don't you face the light? And it makes
There
a
you go.
huge difference. So that's very important. Observe the light. Okay, so what is one final tip that you can offer to help people upgrade their travel photos from their cell phone?
Well, I think portraits are also very interesting. So I think, you meet a lot of interesting characters on your trips. So I say look for interesting people and interesting people wearing interesting things, different colors, different hairstyles, different hats. I was recently in Kenya in Lamu, which is a very special island on the coast of Kenya. And they have an interesting hat festival every 2 years. And they give out prizes, and people really get into it and they get really creative. And it's almost like carnival in the Caribbean in some ways. Um, so look for, different people that stand out and ask them if they'd be comfortable if they'd be comfortable with you taking their picture or take a picture with them. Sometimes the contrast um, of you being from a certain place in the world and them being from some place in the world can be very interesting for a photo. And also, I would add to that, try portrait mode. A lot of the newer phones, whether it's Samsung or Apple, they have portrait mode, and it kind of tries to emulate a real camera lens and blurs out the background and sort of isolates the subject from the background. And it's very pleasing to the eye, and it looks very professional. So experiment with that. You can make very good portraits with that. And yeah, good
So that was
luck.
a couple of tips. So he gave you a couple of bonus tips there. So tip number one, if you allow me to decode, tip number one is try to create a picture that tells a story, right? And so if you look for something interesting to capture in a photograph, a person who may be wearing something that is not prototypical, that creates a very interesting story in your photograph. The second component of the tip, which is near and dear to my heart as a lawyer, ask for permission first. Don't just randomly take pictures of people without asking for their permission for a variety of reasons, but that is an excellent tip. And then the third tip is to use the features within your phone, particularly portrait mode, to capture what you might be able to capture with a more traditional camera to really create a special picture. So just to recap all three plus tips.
Well, tip number one was look for color. Definitely telling a story encompasses all of it. But I was saying look for color, observe the light, look for interesting people. And when you do find those interesting people, try out the portrait mode.
Excellent. So where can the people find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they book you if they desire a travel photographer, or videographer, or any kind of photographer, videographer? Let us know.
Well, you can find me on my website, which is www.mandela.gr, or you can find me on Instagram at Mandela Gregoire. And I've recently started a new travel page called Multi City Ticket. So you can find that on Instagram as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mandela, for all of your fabulous tips.
No problem. Looking forward to doing it again soon.